pushing the boundaries of expectations, and rewriting the rules of adventure are the reasons we get up in the morning. This is a way of life, a huge and growing community of explorers and adventurers, leading the way, blazing new trails, and raising the bar. We share your hunger for a life without limits, and we know you'll stop at nothing to get there.
Well, greetings and welcome back, co-creatives. I'm Stephen Kenyon. So glad you could join us for another adventure of manifesting abundance. Email address is kineticbelief@stephenkenyon.com. StephenKenyon.com is the website where you can sign up to receive updates and letters from me. Also find on Instagram, you can find me at Stephen Kenyon. Also something that I am pretty excited about, to receive some text messages, inspiring texts from me personally. Simply text the word kinetic, 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 to 31996. That's 31996, which is only available in the U.S. for now. But if you do that, then I will send you some text messages. Hi, Maggie.
Hey, Steve.
How are you today?
Oh, man, I'm really good today.
You've always said that, but I like to hear it anyway.
It's a different kind of good every day. You know, sometimes it's just off the rails excited, but today it's a very centered, grounded good. I feel very content.
Well, I've had my 3 cups of coffee, so I am Java ready.
Well, since I'm half your size, I think my 2 count for me being caught up with you.
And I've got a question for you.
Okay.
I was thinking over my 3rd cup of coffee this morning that you are one of the most talented people I know.
Oh, that's very
and
sweet.
I mean, you can just do it all. You paint and you sing and you musical and just all these wonderful things. And so with all that talent, I want to ask you, what is the most useless talent that you have? I mean, completely worthless.
Oh my goodness. That's a great question. Probably something physical, right? Like something. Oh, I can move my eyebrows autonomously. You know how you can sort of like peek one up and like make a face.
But you know, nonverbal communication with the expressions of the face is probably at least 50% of it. So
That's true.
You can keep them guessing with.
So it's not
with
useless.
That as a talent. I don't think so.
I can curl my tongue. Only so many people can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
You're probably venturing into the use.
Ooh, I know a good one.
What?
I can pick things up off the floor very easily with my toes, like a monkey.
Again, I'm not so sure that's just useless.
You're jealous of all my. You're like I can pick things up.
That's what I'm talking
my
about.
toes.
I think
You're funny.
probably mine is yodeling. I've not found an occasion to yodel yet.
You don't yodel.
Well, see, when I've not needed to. Yeah, I can yodel.
Are you waiting for the Alps? You're like, wait a minute. Now that I'm in the Swiss Alps, it's time.
Yodel in the shower.
Yodel in the shower.
All right.
I would give anything to start hearing yodeling coming from the shower. That would be hilarious.
Well, anyway.
That would make my day.
I've got another question for you.
Oh, my word. Okay.
What is the best purchase that you've ever made?
The best?
The best one.
Oh my goodness. Probably, I feel like my instinct is I instantly think of shoes.
Really? No,
Yeah.
I guess it's because you would still be wearing them after having bought them for a long
Well, I guess
time ago.
shoes are one of those things, at least for me, that I'm disappointed in so many times when I get them. And so to get like that perfect pair, that they really are as comfortable as you think.
I see that.
And they really are that cute. And you would just wear them out and you wear them everywhere. Yeah, probably a pair of shoes.
I got to say, actually,
That sounds stupid,
You
though.
know what? It was a gift from you, but I'm going to claim that I bought it. Probably the best purchase that it was ever made for me would be my Bose speaker.
Ooh, that could be my best purchase.
No, we can't have the same one.
But I bought it.
Okay.
So
Well,
that's mine.
It's a Bose speaker, and it's just a portable.
It's lasted over a
Oh
decade.
my gosh, it's so solid and
Yes.
incredible.
We have taken it on hikes to the beach, outside, inside. It's gotten wet. It's gone through multiple chargers. It really has lasted over a decade, hasn't it?
You can charge it and it just lasts forever on
Well,
it, but it's so solid.
And I have to say, it's one of those speakers too that it sounds enormous. There's something about that speaker. It's not just a little Bluetooth speaker.
Well, what's the worst purchase you ever made?
Well, what's yours? I want to hear yours first.
The worst?
Yeah.
Gosh, I think it's probably a category with me, and I was
A whole category.
a whole category because I keep doing it over and over and over.
You're
and
like, there was a time.
Probably the worst purchase I've ever made was all these concert and show tickets that I have bought over the years that we don't go to.
I know.
We didn't use them.
Our life. Our
I mean,
life
how sad,
is
right?
so...
I mean, I was thinking we had tickets to a rodeo in Tennessee, a flamenco dance show in Charleston, Radio City Music Hall, and flights and all this stuff. And things happen, and we can't make the trip, or we don't go. And
I feel the need to say that we're really not frivolous.
I don't, because we give them to someone else to enjoy.
Them,
but
but life takes over. Life just happens. Our life can be randomly chaotic.
And not
times.
to be confused with regrets is just recognizing that.
Yeah.
I think I need to plan better or something. What about you? The worst? Come on.
Man, I don't know. I do a lot of research before I purchase things, so it's hard to think of something that I didn't like. Do you know? Did you already think of something for me?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, maybe some little hair thing or...
Oh, my word.
Or
in high school...
Maybe it was that
I
those
did go
curlers.
Yeah, it's funny. I've told you that story. Yeah. So in high school, I went through this whole phase of like just buying all these weird hair contraptions, and the best thing to do is just wear your hair normal. Don't be weird.
I'm guessing most people would probably say it was some piece of exercise equipment that ends up under the bed.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, that handshaker.
The shake
The
weight.
little handshaker thing.
The most awkward.
Yeah, the
awkward.
thigh master maybe, right?
Well, it depends. I guess it's not useless if you use it.
Right.
But most of us don't use it. I did buy an elliptical one time.
Really?
And I didn't want to pay the fee to have the guy come put it together. And so it just it was very creaky and rickety because I put it together myself. So it was like very wobbly and it was sort of hilarious.
Well, anyway, there we have it. Let's
interesting,
prepare to gain some knowledge and on 10 different ways to improve the day and in our preparation. Yes, ma'am.
Can I just say I'm very, very, very excited about this topic because I just love these things that, you're just, when you give us these things that we can just instantly insert into our lives, it's thrilling. Heads up, I'm very excited.
Awesome, fantastic. 10 practical ways to improve the day. Let's prepare ourselves. Begin right now just by focusing on a sense of being present. Let go of all of the distractions and all of the noise. Everything that you've already encountered today, put it to the side right now. Come into this moment. Release thoughts of the future and release all of the noisy chatter of the past. Echoing visions, cast them down and come into the present moment. Be right here. Come into the right now and be present. Become fully aware of all of your sensory presence. How do you feel? Relax. How do you feel now? How does your body feel? Notice what you see around you and don't notice it with words. Don't define any of it. Just observe and allow what you see to be a form without a name. It's just there. Try not to attract any kind of a belief to what you see. Just be in the moment. Notice what you hear. Perhaps a sound is coming through a window or a wall. Allow the sound to just be. Now, try not to believe anything about the sound, just let it be in this moment. Intensify your presence. This presence, intensify your awareness in the moment with the expectation and with the gratitude that something very important is about to happen. This is the moment that something memorable is going to happen. Increase your awareness of the importance of this moment. Nothing else going on in your mind. There. You've entered awareness in between thoughts. Together, let's allow one thought to enter into our awareness. Ready? Now, bring the image of your purpose into this present moment. What is your purpose? What life have you chosen to advance? See it in the present tense as already done. Remember, this is not wishful thinking. No, this is the presence of who you are. This moment is enough to contain all that you are. In this space, in your place. Now let your muscles go soft. Release every tension. Keep your frame and your bones, especially the spine, upright. Stay in this moment. There's a thread that's holding you up. It's not an act of your willpower, it's life energy in your body. Feel the presence of life energy in this moment. Feels good. It's the substance of joy. Deep breath in. Now let it out. 10 ways to improve the day. Have you ever had a hard day? Take as much time as you need to answer.
I would never.
Occasionally everybody experiences setbacks, right? Disappointment, and just things didn't work out quite the way that perhaps we were hoping things would work out, and just having a tough time of it. Things won't always go our way. But instead of giving into the emotional distress of a bad day or a bad week, we can use kinetic belief strategies in order to improve things in our lives. As a KB creative, all of us have the creative power of belief at our disposal anytime we should choose to use it. By using the tools of kinetic belief without fail, our outlook always changes. And I just want to dig into 10 ways that we can improve the day to day. And the first thing is just to make sure you've got gratitude. Gratitude is often one of the most overlooked, powerful energetics of kinetic belief that we need to make sure we're going throughout the day having. Go into the day, through the day, and out of the day being thankful and being grateful and being patient in our gratitude and not ceasing in our attitude of gratitude. Look, it doesn't matter if we're out in our car. We don't have to find that meditative stance in a quiet place somewhere in order to do this. It doesn't matter if we're at a cafe, which you and I enjoy so much, yes. Going to the cafes to do some of our work, or if we're at the office or at home or wherever, we can all improve our awareness of each day immensely by taking grateful attitudes and by acknowledging all of the life around us everywhere we go. Taking that attitude of gratitude wherever we're going, by being grateful for the parking space, by being grateful for the weather, rain or shine, and doing this for life. It's a great way to refocus on the presence of life source energy, on the life-giving love of our Creator, and to stir up our expectations for powerful, exciting success in a way to actually remove all of the frustrating thoughts that may be popping in throughout the day.
Isn't that it? It's not possible to be both frustrated and grateful. We're either one or the other. So, if I'm aggravated about something, I just need to check that gratitude level.
Well, yeah, that is so true.
And I was just going to say that, I love how you're teaching us about this first up, because I feel like gratitude is the thing I become desensitized to the most quickly, because it's in our culture so much. We hear it so much. Count your blessings, be grateful. It can kind of lose its power in your mind. So I love that it's numero uno.
Well, actually, gratitude isn't just being grateful for what appears as a good thing. And that's why a lot of people probably lose touch with the sense of being grateful. An attitude of gratitude is grateful in all things, not just for the sunshine.
Right. Yeah. Wow.
Not for all things, but in all things. And that's the difference. Always being grateful, not for just a thing, but in all things. Many, many years ago, we were remodeling one of our meeting locations, and we had begun in an old warehouse, and the crowds became so large, so quick. I mean, it was standing room only, and they were actually staying outside of the building as well as filling up the building,
Yes.
which, by the way, had been a manufacturing facility of, I think it was arts and crafts, and it was never really meant for occupying the crowds of people that were coming. And so sure enough, after a few months of this, the fire marshal came in and said, okay, too much, too big, too fast. You're going to have to stop.
That's literally what his report said.
That pretty much was it. And you're going to have to quit having these meetings and until you can remodel the facility. And I was there with some of the other the guys and some of the staff, and they were like, oh no, this is the worst thing, Steve. What are we going to do? And I remember very clearly thinking, this is great. This is powerfully marvelous and wonderful. I am so grateful that the fire marshal came in and gave us this report that he has given us. And they're like, how can you say that? Because this means that it's going to be bigger and better than ever. Gratitude attracts, if you are grateful in whatever it is, it always attracts the better outcome. And in hindsight, I just know that if I had grumbled and complained and not been in a position or the energetics of gratitude, that probably would have been the end of it.
Well, and that really fits in with what you've taught us in the past about when you're presented with an issue in life, it's really what you say about it. That's what determines what happens to you in your life next. And so it's almost like you're saying, hey, gratitude is that way of definitively acting and saying and making it very clear what you're choosing to believe.
Keeping the best outlook for expectations, because then what happened? And fast forward, we had contractors, builders come in, and they all just began pitching in and remodeled that facility to accommodate all those people, and it became beautiful. And that would not have happened had the fire marshal not come in there to make us make some changes.
It's almost like you've taught us before. You created seemingly a vacuum for growth that had to be filled with your gratitude.
It attracts that's so true, isn't it? It attracts exactly what we're hoping for, and often what we're hoping for is beyond anything we can even think or imagine. But the energetics of gratitude will bring in the unexpected to be far better than anything we could have thought of or imagined.
That's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, so all right, number 2, let's meditate on images of our purpose as we go throughout the day. Meditate on images of our purpose. We bring our highest expectations for attracting our best lives into present moment thoughts and into the present situation, and we begin meditating on our purpose. Again, something that we can do as we go throughout the day. Fill in as many blanks around the vision of your purpose having manifested already, present tense, and feel the presence of your purpose as having already come to pass. And keep an intense focus of your purpose in view. In your imaginations, see it holistically, the big picture, while paying attention to your joy level as it begins to rise up. And that's something that you will notice, that as you begin to focus on the bigger picture of your success, your emotional state changes, because you can't really, the emotions don't know what's factual and what's not. All the emotions do is signal the aftermath of what you're thinking to be true. So we create our own reality, and then the emotional state follows. Fill in as many blanks as you can around your vision. And then look, if somebody is making life at your workplace, and this is something that comes up often, if they're making it really tough on you, and you get to the place where you really don't even want to go to work anymore because you just know you're going to be bullied. Somebody doesn't like you. They're backstabbing. They're talking about you. They're whatever. You picked up on all of this negative stuff. Stop and remind yourself that, you know what, it's a choice to not worry. It's a choice to not be in doubt. It's a choice to not fear them. It's always a choice. And rather than stirring yourself up in the expectation of being bullied, we stir ourselves up in the expectation of being successful and walking in unconditional love and being powerful in all of our endeavors. Because no one can recreate us unless we give them and empower them with the ability to do just that. The power of our kinetic belief is our provision. It's the substance of everything we choose to hope for. And it's all the evidence that we need in our lives that we're becoming exactly what we choose to be. In other words, if we don't have our journal with us as we're going throughout the day, make sure you just write it down on something till you can get back to your journal. Make a note. Describe who you are and your identity in every situation. So if it's the bully at work that you are fearful of, stop and make a note of who you see yourself as being, and then that should replace the idea of any bully. Put it on your home screen or in a note on your phone if you don't have something to write with. Don't just simply read it either and move on. No, stop. Close your eyes if necessary before you get out of the car and you walk into the workplace, and focus on what you've written and see yourself inhabiting that expectation for yourself.
Wow, Steve, I have to say, my guided journal is the thing that has kept me grounded in my self-realization for manifestation just more times than I can even count. Things happen. Disruptions to our best beliefs are just a part of life. So, the quicker we can get back to the business of becoming our best selves, the better.
Yes, and here's what we do. Instead of letting irritating situations or conversations play on a loop in our minds, we intentionally, by paying attention to the conscious chatter going on around us, we intentionally choose what will be the loudest voice in our thoughts until it becomes the only voice, and then the softest voice. The third thing, another way kinetic belief improves our day, is when we encourage another person. Yes. Find someone else to encourage. Focusing on others and encouraging them through their difficulties, that is a great way to give ourselves a break from our own issues.
That is so true. And wow, I love how you said that. That's perfect.
Center yourself like you've learned to do to receive wisdom in your conscious awareness, to attract directives in the spirit of compassion. And the universe will place someone, it may be a coworker, it could be a neighbor or a long-distance friend, who will greatly appreciate our sincere smile, which you can hear over the phone, by the way, or a kind note or a text or an email, whatever it may be, or just an encouraging phone call from you. Think about it. Do you remember somebody speaking encouragement into your own life?
Oh, yes.
Just when you needed it most, and you didn't ask for it. It just showed up for you.
Those times in my life, I think we all have them. You can look back and they absolutely stand out, like these hot spots, these bright spots. When you look back, they're very impactful.
Bright spots, yes. Perhaps it was a stranger, maybe an adult that you barely knew when you were a child. But it's interesting because it's such a bright spot, how we always remember.
Yes.
It was just at the right time that we needed it. I was a little boy about 7 years old, and I went fishing out on a pier. And it was down at the beach and I had a family, and no one fished in the family, but I wanted to as a little boy. And so I went out, didn't know anything about fishing, went out onto the pier, and I'll never forget it. I was just a little guy, and this elderly, he seemed ancient to me at the time, and he was so
He's
weathered.
your age.
He was so weathered.
He's your age now, but
probably a weathered little boy. But regardless, he stopped what he was doing, and he came over and spent a lot of time with me, showing me how to bait a hook and how to put line on a reel, and just how to do what I was there to do. A complete stranger to me, but then showed me how to how to fish. I've never forgotten that. I was later on as a teenager, and I was wanting to play football and learning to kick. And Chuck Ramsey from the New York Jets showed up, and he was in the neighborhood and began helping me kick. Came over and saw what I was doing and spent the whole summer with a professional athlete teaching me. And he didn't have to do that. And I mean, maybe you've been broken down in your car before.
Yeah.
And just some people, guys stop and they, hardly even have a conversation with you, and they throw open the hood of the car. Next thing you know, mechanics are all around it fixing the car for you.
Yeah, actually that did happen. I had just gotten my license, and it was a little icy where I was driving, and my car had slid into a ditch, and within like 60, 90 seconds, like 4 or 5 trucks pull up, and they've got lumber, and they didn't even say anything to me. I'm just sitting there watching all this happen. But yeah, you're right, memorable. So memorable.
Well, and if you can't think of someone to encourage, or the opportunity doesn't seem to present itself, then check out one of our KB Creative Community events. We're doing these, before COVID, and certainly after COVID, we will jump back on it. But we're doing these events, and just, once some of those restrictions have been lifted, these are actually ideal places to encourage other kinetic believers.
Wow, yeah.
But,
yes, that's true.
The way that life unfolds, if you put an expectation into it, somebody will come along, especially if we're looking for that opportunity for us to go out and be able to speak into their life and to become encouragers of.
Wow. I love that. Encourage other kinetic believers. There's nothing to me more satisfying than just spending time with other positive believing, positive producing, positive thinking people. You feel it, you feel the difference between those connections and just the other negative ones that you have.
What an opportunity we have. I mean, especially when we're encouraging each other to do the 4 things that are guaranteed to improve our day. And those 4 things coming up, number 4 is to take inventory of your blessings. Take inventory, pay attention. And this is the 4th thing, not the 4 things, by the way. We've got 10 things we're going through. The 4th thing is those who inhabit negative, destructive energetics, for example, love to convince you that all is lost. Nothing's going to work out for you. But that's not even close to the truth of our reality. Our Creator has provided so much for us. I mean, when struggles come, take inventory of all of the life source that love has given us. The wisdom for abundance, the wisdom for our health. Look at how love has given you a home, your family, your family's health, your job, your KB community, and so many other things. Regardless of what it may be, look, if it's good and to be desired by you, the thought of you becoming what you desire is yours and was created for you to imagine by your loving Creator who created all the lights in the night sky. Life's source never changes or casts a shifting shadow. Love never fails to satisfy a kinetic belief.
I want to make sure I understand. So it seems like number 1, gratitude, that's more to really put your thoughts and your words into what you're believing to be true in the present, and then also in the future and about your current circumstances. And then number 4, it seems like it's more about pausing and being present and taking, I like how you said, taking inventory.
Noticing and recognizing all of those blessings, all of the good things that love has given to us. Because, life's source never changes and it's always available to us. Our Creator is always there to help sustain our desire and passion for life. And it never fails to satisfy anyone that is remaining in their kinetic beliefs. So we make time to consider all of the good and all of the perfect things in our lives. And then, like you're saying, with gratitude, we imagine to add to what we already have. We're adding to with kinetic belief, with our gratitude, with our attitudes, and with our positive expectations for life to begin, pouring the abundance of our desires into our lives. But just make sure that we're not going from the place of 0 and that we are going from a place of recognizing everything that already is in our lives that is a blessing to us. The 5th thing is to stop for a moment and remember the good things. sort of a continuation of the last one. Remember all of the good things, but the little difference here is, here's something that I would suggest that you do. Write down 5 good, unexpected things that showed up to your rescue in the past, like we were just talking about, maybe the people coming in and helping with the car. Write down 5 unexpected things that showed up to your rescue. And we all have those times in our lives when something just happened at just the right time to change our lives for the better. Those encounters that you did not plan yourself, all of those originate from our life source creator, who is always aware, who's always drawing us to more, always drawing us to completion, advancing us, rescuing us when we need to be rescued.
Wow. This reminds me that you and I, we've had so many conversations about our lives and just how they line up perfectly for us to be together, for us to meet. It's always amazing, when we look back and we notice how things out of our, completely, like you're saying, completely out of our control, they just happen to bring us together. I think rescued is such a good word for those encounters with like you said, with the life source of our Creator.
Yeah, it's important to remember the part that our Creator's love for us does and how it provides whatever we kinetically believe to receive. And also for us to be grateful for the response that love has to our desires, to share the same love that turned our lives around with other people, because our dependence upon the substance of our belief to be able to create the life that we choose to live is more than enough to certainly free us from any future difficulties or challenges. So we ask ourselves, when did love rescue me? In my past, think about it. When did love rescue you? I mean, perhaps you were rescued from a chronic disease. Maybe it was a bad business deal. Maybe crippling debt had just buried you. Or it could have been an unhealthy relationship. And I say rescued because you may have been just drifting around lost in a sea of despair without any answers, and just seemingly out of nowhere, you were rescued. I mean, when that happens, you are experiencing the unconditional love of the mind of your Creator. In quantum theory, the bias for creation had a desire, a belief for all of creation in mind, a thought form which included me and it included you. That desire for us, it expanded, creating the image of our forms. And the life energy, the source of love, it hasn't stopped giving from the very beginning. So when difficulties arise, and they do, and we start to feel doubt, and we start to feel worried about things, and fear starts to creep in, it is so good to look back, to acknowledge love has already done for you in the past. It's already shown up and rescued you before. And encourage yourself with the knowledge that we came out of it before, so we weren't abandoned then. And if we weren't abandoned then, we certainly aren't going to be abandoned now. In fact, the wisdom of unconditional love has made sure that we are being shown how to use the power of kinetic belief to be able to attract happiness and joy and health and peace and abundance, all of those things into our lives.
I have to say, it's so incredibly powerful what you're saying. This idea that we can sort of reinforce our current beliefs by looking back and remembering. Remembering is such a powerful thing when you are, remembering your past successes, reminding yourself that, what, I manifested that. I manifested that. This worked out. This worked out for me. The universe met me in this place. Mm-hmm. It's incredibly powerful as a sort of a faith belief boost in the present moment.
We're not starting at the beginning.
Yeah.
And recognize that it's never all us. As a kinetic believer, we have our part and creation has its part.
Yeah, and isn't that it, what you're telling us, that love gives us wisdom? It's life's greatest teacher, and just as soon as we think it's all up to me, we're forgetting that it's not supposed to be all up to me. Right. The life force of love, like you're telling us, and it's just, again, it's so powerful. It's always here to help direct us, to get us out of, going around in circles. What causes us to, I mean, and it makes you wonder. I mean, what does cause us to even keep going around in these circles over and over?
Well, sure. Do you ever struggle with replaying negative situations in your mind?
Yes, right? At 8:30 p.m. every night, right after my eyes close.
Or another big one is you're going back down to the meeting, or you're going to the office. And let's take that bully that you work with for an example again. And you're all the way there. Yeah. You're having conversations with yourself and the bully.
Yes.
You say one thing, and then you say what you think the bully's going to say to yourself.
And I have to say, anytime I have a faux pre-conversation with myself, I always show up, and that person immediately goes, "Oh, by the way, I'm so sorry."
What are you talking about?
No, wait, I had this whole fight scene planned.
So perhaps the question becomes, who is really the bully?
Yeah.
Stop bullying yourself.
Wait a minute. I'm the common denominator in my life? What?
Yeah. So the answer to how do we stop from going around in circles all the time? Journaling. Look, journaling helps us to move beyond those competing and obsessive thoughts by putting down on paper what we choose to think about, and to process how we feel about the current issues in our lives. In fact, it's a great way to start or end our day, because it can help us think more objectively about what's happening. And it reminds us to write a daily affirmation and to blueprint our expectations so that we can stay on the chosen course of our lives and to plan a corresponding action to go with each belief. Forgetting our purpose is the biggest reason for most of life's failures.
Absolutely.
Do you remember the movie The Notebook?
Yes. Great movie.
The story of a young couple caught up in the urgency of romance and their passion for each other. It cuts between that same couple at two different seasons in their lives. And we see them young, and then we see them as old people. Mm-hmm. And in the story, as an older woman, she begins to disappear into the shadows of Alzheimer's, while he remains just steadfast in his love for her. Well, it's his custom in the movie that every day he would show up to read to her from a notebook that tells the story of how they met and how they fell in love and faced all of life's obstacles to their happiness. And then sometimes he said, if only for a few minutes, the clouds would part, and she was able to remember who he is and who the story, of course, was about. Our journal is our notebook, and it's our life's love story. Without it, perhaps if only for a few minutes, the clouds may part, and we'll be able to remember who we are and who our life's story was supposed to be about. But with our journal, we keep the passion burning for the life that we are supposed to live, one that is full of all things possible. Well, the seventh way to improve our day is through visualizing.
You almost got me crying thinking about that movie.
Where's my journal?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. It is though. It's so true that it's so powerful. It really is that anchor point in your life. I was thinking, I went to the store the other day, and I really thought I could go without a list yet again. And I get there, and I can't remember anything that I had made a note to get. And I'm thinking, if I can't even remember to pick up, the oranges because I didn't write it down, why do I think I can remember my life's purpose that I discovered yesterday, and I need to rediscover it today? I mean, but we need that. We're human beings, and our thoughts, they're so clouded, like you're saying, most of the time, and it's just that anchor point. It keeps us coming back. It keeps us grounded, and it keeps reminding us of who we are.
Well, what's really funny is that when you go to the store for one thing and you come back with lots of things except for that one.
Oh, every time.
I'm going to get some oranges, and you come back with apples.
And you know what? I'm also that person that walks in thinking, I don't need a cart. I've been doing this since I was, 16, right. Just, I don't need a cart. And then I come back up just, teetering with eggs and everything in my arms. It's really funny.
Well, number 7 is the visualizing. Maybe that would help with our shopping too. Visualizing. Albert Einstein said imagination is more important than knowledge.
I believe that.
And the reality is that we can attract, to become, and to be anything we want to become. It just takes the self-confidence of visualizing. Do you want to write like Hemingway? Do you want to paint like Picasso? Or become the next big discovery on Britain's Got Talent? I know I do.
Of course.
Visualizing means maintaining a moment-by-moment awareness of our holistic expectations. And with this practice comes vivid colors, and they begin to open up the window of our imaginations, and also this heightened sense of success and this new way of looking at the world opens our reservoir for the inflow of creative wisdom. Never stop visualizing. Never stop visualizing. There is no substitute for constant visualization. Throughout the day, even if we can't see the big picture or see the end result, we can trust in the ability to attract our next forward motion, to attract the next steps that we should be taking. Visualizing on what we want produces powerful results, and it helps us to navigate through what may be some overwhelming to-do lists that usually we create for ourselves, and even some competing priorities or some seemingly impossible situations.
That's exactly why I really love the way that we meditate to prepare for journaling or even the conversations that we have. It really does help to visualize so that we can keep our eyes and in turn our awareness focused on our holistic, like you always say, holistic expectations.
Yeah, visualizing what we desire throughout the day as though we already have it. That is the forward motion of kinetic belief.
Yes.
The eighth thing that we do to improve our day is to kinetically believe with other people. With family members, the same way that we encourage somebody else can help us to refocus the positive onto ourselves. And we can kinetically believe with others. When our own life when it begins to require, for example, more patience for manifestations, and we move into those periods of time where we're really working on some kinetic beliefs, and it just seems like this thing is going on and on and on because it's such a big thing that we're working on, and the bigger the thing, sometimes the more patience in gratitude is going to be required. So if more patience for manifestations seems to be required, it can help ease those anxious pursuits of waiting with gratitude when we use some of the time to edify and encourage and celebrate and champion somebody else.
Yes.
As long as we don't take on their problems as our own.
Ding, ding, ding.
So important.
That's a big
Don't
one.
take on other people's problems as your own. Aligning our kinetic beliefs with other people's problems will often result in us feeling taking on the same emotional state and the same emotional expectations of loss and lack. So don't take on their problems. Always assume solutions. That's what kinetic belief is, seeing the process as being successful and not one of a failure. And then we begin to feel encouraged and strengthened in our own lives as we align our positive expectations with somebody else's beliefs. The next thing that we want to do to improve our day is take a walk. Number 9 is to take a walk. We should immerse ourselves in creation around us and be present and notice. Walk to see. In other words, it's a wonderful way to appreciate just how great and beautiful creation is. Celebrating the gift of life, the life around us, the trees, the flowers, rocks, the earth, all of that is just rejuvenating to the soul. And it's awe-inspiring to be able to go out and commune with the creative power of the universe. So take a walk to observe.
I love our observation walks that we take so often, just immersing ourselves in creation. And that may be rain, it may be cold, it could be anything. We don't wait for the conditions to be perfect, and we've even begun turning our walks into these scavenger hunts. We'll look for interesting things, to pick up and send to my niece or for us just to talk about.
Right, noticing the small things that you ordinarily wouldn't notice unless you had some purpose with it and intention behind it.
And that's a theme that has really spoken out to me today personally, is that none of these items are dependent upon the perfect circumstances, for the conditions to be perfect for them to happen. You're sort of taking the lead. You're taking charge of your life in your gratitude and in your expectations, in the walks. Whether we love that movie Midnight in Paris. Is that the name of it? With Owen Wilson? But I love it. Through the whole movie, he's obsessed with walking in Paris in the rain, which I really love. And that it makes me think of everything we're talking about doing today. I mean, you just dive in, you embrace the moment, you embrace what's happening, you embrace what you're working toward, and it just makes you really come alive.
Let the elements be what the elements are.
Yes.
Right. And just inhabit that and let it become you.
Isn't that the ultimate going with the flow in the best way? Flowing with
way,
life.
Yes. Yeah. Number 10, serve someone else.
Yeah. Yes. There it is.
Perhaps you've picked up on the variation of the theme today, and this has come up quite a bit, and it's important because we are, after all, operating successfully in the power of unconditional love. Serve someone else. It's easy to get so busy in the practice of kinetic belief because it works, which makes it so exciting.
Yes.
And so just as important to working on ourselves is expanding our territory. Well, how do we expand our territory? We become larger by unconditionally loving other people. So now we want to include serving someone else. And if we look around, we easily find someone in need, a coworker who could benefit from being invited to lunch maybe, or a neighbor who could use a home-cooked meal. Maybe it's a senior citizen or a single parent who would appreciate help running some errands or performing some household chores. Whatever it may be, serving others helps us keep a proper perspective on our lives, and it increases a present tense sense of satisfaction. All of these things help to improve our day.
Yes.
As we believe to be a positive benefit to someone else, we attract the same into our lives. It sounds simple because it is. We were created with the creative authority to use our dominion to increase ourselves by raising others up. Maybe you should share some of your life experiences and some of your knowledge with children, maybe through a local club or scouts. Maybe some kids playing sports, they need help learning how to play soccer or maybe baseball. Become a big brother or a big sister. If you start looking for ways, I cannot tell you how powerfully it will enrich your life. And the law of reciprocity comes into play immediately when we start giving of ourselves. The return is constant and continuous back into our lives.
Something that sounds really fun about 1 through 10, especially 10, number 10, is it's really going, I think, to flex our creative muscles, because every single one of these steps, it's going to be different for us. We're going to be looking out and looking at our circumstances, looking at the people we know, looking within to see the things that bring us joy and that we want to share with the world. And that creativity is just going to start flowing, on how the best way to journal, the best way to speak to other people, what you should be doing to love on people with your unique talents and your unique purpose. And so, again, all of this sounds incredibly fun, doesn't it?
Oh, it's incredibly fun because it's the way we're wired. It's satisfying to the soul.
Yes.
This is how we live to become our best lives,
Yeah.
and to enjoy peace and happiness and joy and abundance.
And you said it. You said that word. You said it's satisfying. So, whenever we find ourselves in these moments in life where we are lacking satisfaction, where we're lacking that fulfillment, that little zing of something thrilling happening in our lives, 1 through 10, we know exactly what to do now.
We know because we are the awareness of the universe. This is the only way. We are the only way that the universe is aware of itself.
Wow.
All of the books humans have ever written are insignificant compared to the enormous pools of wisdom and knowledge that's contained by the cosmic mind in which we all live, and by which we all move. And we have the essence of our being, the sensual perception of awareness. The truths that we perceive as our realities by observation, those are thoughts which are held in this enormous cosmic mind that's around us, that we occupy and inhabit. If the information were not thoughts, then we couldn't perceive them, because the information would have no existence. And the information for wisdom, for life, it couldn't exist as thoughts unless there's a mind for them to exist within. And the substance of thought can be interpreted anywhere. It can be interpreted anywhere that we should ever go, but nowhere else other than within a mind which thinks. We are, Megan, we are the substance of awareness of the universe. And the thinking substance only has limitations where we limit it. And while the cosmic intelligence, the mind of our Creator, is where we came from, which has unlimited power, we are immersed in the cosmic creative mind, and that mind contains all knowledge and all wisdom and all truth. And the life source of love is seeking to give us this knowledge, which is mostly received when we, like our Creator, learn to give of ourselves and to give into other people's lives and to raise them up. This limitless source of wisdom and power is open to us, and we can draw upon it as we will, according to our subjective, unwavering beliefs. KB Creatives know in our knowers, we just know it. It's who we are, that we can make ourselves what we desire to be. We can do what we wish to do, and we can have what we want to have. And to accomplish all of this, we just must learn to become one with love, love for our Creator, unconditional love for ourselves, approving of ourselves the way that we were created, and love for all others as they are, not as we wish them to be, but as they are. And we do this so that we can receive wisdom and truth, so that we may know the right way to advance and the correct way to attract our desires, so that we may be and become all-powerful in our abilities for our genius of purpose to become what we're supposed to be. A life that is bound by choice is short. All these things that we talk about in these podcasts really is elongated out, and it's still just a very short existence on this planet. It's a very short lifetime, if you will. Even though the days may appear as plenty, they do close quickly. So we lay aside all else, and with a desire for extracting our purpose from all that there is, concentrate upon the attainment of conscious unity with our Creator to become a like kind in unity and in possession.
You know, this last piece of revelation knowledge that you've given us just now, it really brought this entire podcast for me full circle, because it caused a shift in my mind, and it took that 1 through 10, and it took it from more of a little to-do list I had tucked away, and it moved it over into this self-awareness, love awareness lifestyle. You know, I don't need to carry around a piece of paper of 1 through 10 and start checking things off to feel good. These are things that I'm going to be living and breathing, and that will become me. And I'll, you know, at some point look back on my day and go, oh, I was just doing that so naturally because I'm a kinetic believer. It's who I am. So I love that shift that you really brought us to here at the end.
I love that you picked up on the shift.
Yeah.
In fact, it made me think about, we could have just done the entire podcast just probably with one quote from Pablo Picasso.
Probably. He was pretty...
He said, "The meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away." There's all 10 steps, ways to improve the day. Well, let's move into some highest viewpoint affirmations.
Yes.
10 ways to improve the day. Just say this out loud. Say, today I open my creative self.
Today I open my creative self.
To others by seeking the good for them.
To others by seeking the good for them.
I celebrate all that is right in the world.
I celebrate all that's right in the world.
I exude kindness.
I exude kindness.
And a giving love in my soul.
And a giving love in my soul.
I inspire people.
I inspire people.
With my kind words and actions.
With my kind words and actions.
I choose to be friendly.
I choose to be friendly.
To everyone I encounter.
To every person I encounter.
Because after all, I am really nice.
I am really nice.
I pay attention to my inner chosen desires.
I pay attention to my inner chosen desires.
And I put action to them.
I put action to them.
I am co-creating my journey.
Yes, I'm co-creating my journey
with my inner wisdom
with my inner wisdom
and the substance of my belief.
and the substance of my belief.
I use my purpose
I use my purpose
and my talent
to
to fulfill my purpose in life and to help others
and to help others
fulfill theirs.
fulfill theirs.
I am following my best life path
I am following my best life path
to inspire and be a help to
to
others.
inspire and be a help to others.
I am at peace,
I'm at peace
with myself
with myself
and all others. Because after all, I am love.
I am love. Wow. 10 things that we're going to implement into all of our lives to become the best kinetic believers this world has ever seen. If you want to pick up a copy of the guided journal, we have the hard copy and we have the digital copy as well, and that's going to be available at stephencanyon.com. And I cannot say enough about that journal. I've been through it so many times. It supercharges your manifesting power. It anchors you. It helps you stay sane in a seemingly insane day. It's awesome. You can find that at stephencanyon.com.
And that's it. Sending out much love to all the KB creatives all around the world.
Yes, and thanks as usual, Stephen, for all the wisdom.
Bye.